Okay, so hello guys. So I wanted to make this really quick video. So now that we're done with absolute value inequalities, I wanted to move on to quadratic inequalities. So we're going to do an example, and so it says solve the inequality and state your answer in interval notation. So this time we're not really going to graph it on the number line, since we kind of already know how to graph different like intervals. So if you guys do want me to do that, just let me know. I'm just gonna go ahead and solve it, and I'm gonna state the answer in interval notation. Okay, so here we have this. This is kind of like a basic example. So this is, it says the quantity x minus 2 times the quantity x plus 1 is less than 0. Now, I need to know, so obviously we want to go ahead and, I guess, draw a number line. So I guess since we're doing, since we're actually going to draw a number line, I'm going to state the answer in interval notation as well, or actually graph the answer or the solution to this inequality. So let me go ahead and do that. Give me a second, guys. So obviously our we're gonna go ahead and set each one equal to 0. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna solve this problem for x, and I'm gonna find the x-intercept. So obviously x minus 2 equals 0, or x plus 1 equals 0. So then I'm gonna just solve each of them for x. So we have a plus 2 here, and then we get x equals 2, and then over here we're going to do minus 1, and we're going to get x equals negative 1, right? So that is the main thing. And now these are going to be my two, kind of like my two main points that I want to test. So because it's less than, it means that I'm obviously not going to include x equals negative 1 or x equals 2, right? So in this number line, I'm going to do the following. I'm going to put 0, negative 1, negative 2, and I'm just going to kind of draw it. It doesn't matter what number you go to, as long as you include whatever intercepts are in the equation, okay, or in the inequality. So we have this number line, right? So then we have the endpoints are the two main x-intercepts at 2, at negative 2, I'm sorry, at 2 and at negative 1. So I can like label those two in this number line. So I have this one, and I have this one, right? So 2 and negative 1. And now what I'm going to do is I want to see if there's a number that that is basically, I want to pick a number between the following intervals: negative infinity to negative 1, not including negative 1, and then comma, negative 1 to 1, I'm sorry, negative 1 to 2, not including negative 1 or 2, and then union, or I'm sorry, not union, and then comma, 2 to infinity. So the point is, I want to see if there are any parts here, here, or here where the inequality is is satisfied, okay? And so those are the 3 intervals that I'm going to test, right? So from negative infinity to negative 1, I can pick, let's pick x equals negative 2, right? So I'm going to say, let's do x equals negative 2, right? So if I do that, let me just kind of, and then I'm going to go ahead and test x equals negative 2. So I have the following inequality. So I have negative 2 minus 2, right? Because I'm literally using, it's really less than 0, but you know, I'm basically plugging in that x value into this inequality and seeing if it satisfies it. So I have negative 2 minus 2 times negative 2 plus 1. So negative 2 plus 1. And then I'm going to see, is this less than 0, right? Okay, so then let me simplify this. So I have negative 4, right? And then negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. And then I have less than 0, right? So then this becomes 4, right? And then this becomes, and it's less than 0, which is not true, right? That's not true, right? So we can't say that that inequality is satisfied, right? So I definitely know that I'm not going to shade like anywhere from negative infinity to negative 1. I definitely know that for sure, because that inequality is not, it doesn't satisfy the inequality, basically. So we know that this is not going to work. Now, what about negative 1 to 2? So if I grab negative 1 to 2, and let's say I pick a number between negative 1 and 2, so I'm going to pick x equals, let's do x equals 0. So actually, let's do x equals 1. I'll do x equals 1. So if I do x equals 1, I'm just going to plug it in. So give me a second, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pick a number that is between negative 1 and 2, right? So let's do x equals 0, or let's do x equals 1, like I said. So I'm gonna do x equals 1, right? So if I do that, I put 1 minus 2, so let me put the following: 1 minus 2, and then times 1 plus 1, right? So times 1 plus 1. And then I'll say, is this less than 0? So if I have 1 minus 2, that's negative 1, right? And then if I do negative 1 times 2, like this, then I have, this is less than 0, so then I have negative 2 is less than 0, right? So then, this is true, right? So we know that this is true. So this satisfies this inequality, right? And then, so we know that that's one of the solutions, right? And now we have from 2 to infinity. So I'm going to do the same thing over here, and I'm going to pick a number between 2 to infinity, and I'll do x equals 3. So if I do x equals 3, I have the following. I have the quantity 3 minus 2 times the quantity 3 plus 1. So 3 and then plus 1 is less than 0, right? So then that gives me 1 times 4 less than 0, just 4 less than 0. So again, this does not satisfy that inequality because 4 is greater than 0, not less than 0. So we can cross that one out. So really the solution to the inequality, to this inequality, is going to be from -1 to 2. Now, to graph it on the number line, all you really have to do is, so we have this following thing here. We have an open circle at -1 and an open circle at 2. And it's from -1 to 2. So the way that you would graph it is just shade in between those two endpoints. And so that is the solution to the inequality, is going to be from -1 to 2, right? So that is how you do this problem, guys. This is a very basic problem. If y'all have any questions whatsoever, please let me know. And I'm going to do another example in another video, but that is the basic idea of how to do this. So if you guys have any questions whatsoever, please let me know, and please like, comment, and or subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.